huge Māori academic input into ours, and I'm going to invite two of them to address us now. Now, Veronica Tawhai, many of you may or may not know her, but she's been a huge young mind that has kept us lawyers straight and narrow on the treaty policy, and she'll outline to you that policy. But one of the things that we sought when we finalised our policy document is that we will have principles of tino rangatiratanga and principles relating to mana Māori motuhake as an integral overstatement for all of our policy. And in the same way that Hone made an oath as an affirmation in Parliament that he would personally work to reducing inequities between the classes that exist in this country and between families, we would also have those kind of general propositions overriding all of our policy statements. That has yet to be written, and I think I'm going to a meeting tonight to write them. So on that point, can I just say that Veronica has been someone that we've absolutely treasured. She's actually been monitoring a lot of what we've got to make sure that it's right. Because quite often you're writing these things, and then you don't actually see the wood for the trees because you're so close to writing it. So she actually pointed out some of the things we got wrong in the treaty policy, and I'm going to ask you to describe those things so that we get them right by the 1st of September. So kia ora.
E te mōku te hone rei ki te kōrero e pāna ki tēnei taonga o tātou te tiriti o Waitangi, me tōna whakatīnanatanga I te aotorangatu, anō reira tēnā tātou. Firstly, thank you, Annette. I didn't say wrong. But even though I have had some input into these policies, I wasn't the primary writer, but I am very honoured and privileged to be able to share with you this afternoon what has been written. So we know that primarily, with the treaty, it has been the government's outright neglect or rewriting or redefining of te tiriti that has ensured that control of health and education and justice and well-being in our country has remained outside of the hands of Māori. So the policy that Mana has written addresses that and addresses the many levels at which it is happening. So, as said, these are just drafts, but I would like to be able to share with you just a few of the key things that Mana's Treaty of Waitangi policy addresses. The first one being that Mana will seek to remove the 2008 deadline imposed for the lodging of the historical claims with the Waitangi Tribunal, first and foremost. Secondly, to extend the 2014 deadline that was imposed for the settlement of all those claims. And so just to put that in perspective of how fundamental those things are that we're changing is that, so we know this year we have had 171 years of treaty breaches, 171 years. What the government has then put in place is 23 years for the lodging of those claims, 20 of those 171, 23 years for the lodging of those claims, and 29 years for the settling of those claims. So the very first thing that Mana will do with the treaty policy is get those things removed in order to deliver justice to our whānau that have been victims of those breaches. The second thing then following that is the increasing of the tribunal, the increasing of the resources of the Waitangi Tribunal in order to facilitate that process. The expansion of the jurisdiction of the Waitangi Tribunal so that they can make binding recommendations in some cases. As we all know currently, the tribunal, although it's a court, can only make recommendations. Many of those are just straight out ignored by the government. So to address that imbalance of power that lays with the tribunal. Secondly, as well, to also increase the value of settlements to iwi by introducing a graduated system of settlement instead of this one-off final settlement package. So we know a full and final settlement is one of the things that the government has invented to be able to say, look, we've done the right thing, it's now gone forever and ever. So in order to be able to address that, that system needs to be changed. Also significantly, Mana will establish an independent Treaty of Waitangi Commission where the commission is elected by Māori voters, and a key role of that commission will be to oversee the recommendations of the tribunal and then the negotiations that happen between iwi and the Office of Treaty Settlements. Because as we know, when we are coming to the table, the power completely lies on the side of the Office of Treaty Settlements. They are setting the parameters within which anything will be negotiated. That itself is such an injustice, and that is something that will be addressed. Also, to ensure the text of Te Wakaputanga o ngā rangatiratanga o Nui Te Rini and the Te Tiriti o Waitangi are the reference points for these settlements, not the Crown invention of the principles of the treaty. Just the last one that I'd like to mention, which is completely significant, is that mana treaty policy seeks to begin a process to settle the way in which political and legal power is structured in Aotearoa, New Zealand. The current parliamentary system does in no way reflect that which was intended by Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and so treaty settlement, from the perspective of mana, must include meaningful constitutional transformation.